Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da?
I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da?
Well, what did we da yesterday?
Yesterday.
All the dogs feel like the same da these days.
I know.
Like, is today Monday or Tuesday?
Today is Thursday.
Oh no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday.
Oh no!
No!
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, episode 176. Tonight we are going to be recording our episode about Oldies But Goodies. Last episode was about Freshies, freshest beer we could find. Today's about Oldies But Goodies, old beer that has aged a couple years, maybe some. So we'll see what we go up with here. But so JR here in Corona de Tucson, Arizona, just outside the old Pueblo of Tucson. And my last untapped check-in was a beer called Waxcomb, an IPA from Kane Brewing Company in New Jersey. A good beer buddy sent me this in the mail, and it's always a brewery that I treasure, and it was a very solid IPA. So let's move on. We've got 4 beer nuts tonight. We're going to move. We're going to stay out west. We'll go next to Steve V in Los Angeles.
Hello, everybody. My last check-in was from the Hop Concept up in San Marcos, and I enjoyed their dank and sticky. And just as it's called, it was dank and sticky, but it was very smooth. Really, really great beer. I'm going to be on the lookout for a lot more of their stuff because that was really enjoyable.
Sounds good. And now let's head up to the Mitten to Dugout.
Hey, everybody. How are you? This is Dugout. I'm in Clawson, Michigan. And my last untapped check-in was from Transient Artist Ales. Go figure. This one's called Permastank. And it's a double dry hopped IPA, double IPA, off the charts, man. Kick ass.
As most transient beers are. And last but certainly not least, Greg in Dearborn. Welcome back, Greg.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be back with you. And Greg in Dearborn here, and my last untapped check-in was from 450 North Brewing Company out of Indiana. It was their Fruity Popsicle Slushy XL, which is a smoothie-style Berliner Weiss with pink guava, lemon, mango, and pineapple. It was super killer, easy drinking. I think it's only like a 4.5% ABV beer, but man, it hit the spot today after a long day of work.
All right, so those are some good beers, and we got some good ones coming up. So before we start reviewing some beers, let's remind our listeners what the show's all about. We are not a bunch of pretentious beer snobs. We're just regular guys looking to introduce some more good people to more good beer. So whatever you're drinking is fine with us. Crack open a cold one, whatever you enjoy, and get back and have a beer with us while we review some good ones. So Oldies But Goodies. So these are beers that have been aged for a few years. And who would like to start off the episode? Who's thirstiest?
Oh,
Greg,
what the heck?
Don't make me be a school teacher. Pick somebody.
Who hit first? Go ahead, Steve. You got it.
No, go ahead, Greg. You're going to fall asleep soon.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. All right, so my beer that I brought tonight was from Southern Tier Brewing Company out of New York State. This is their Monstrasus, which is an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels. Comes in at a very light 14.7%, I believe it is. Just a little description says, prepare yourself for Monstrasus, an enormous imperial stout from our Barrel House series. It was first brewed with black malt, chocolate malt, and roasted barley, then aged for a year in bourbon barrels. So, yeah, she definitely looks the part. She's dark as could be. There's no light whatsoever through it. Poured a very nice khaki head to it, very compact bubbles. She is certainly grabbing the side of the glass here very nicely. So, the beer that it came, the bottle it came in, was a 22-ounce bottle, and I think I bought it at Merchants. Rest in peace, Merchants Fine Wines. This was bottled in 2017. So first smell, lots of rich chocolate, almost like a maple characteristic to it. Really, it comes out as a very sweetness to me. It doesn't. I mean, it's 3 years old, so it doesn't. I don't get a lot of bourbon heat per se, but this smells delicious. So first taste. Oh wow, very 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 smooth. More of that chocolate malt. You get more of like a slight bittering component to it in the middle of the mouthfeel, and then like I mentioned maple in the smell, and I get more of that sweetness to it. But this is delicious. For 3 years in the bottle here, this is going down real smooth for 14, almost 15% per se. But very good. I don't know if anybody else has had this, but Southern Tier, anything stout-wise I've had from them has been extraordinary, and certainly not to be missed. Very good. I'm really, really enjoying this. I probably will sleep very well tonight.
I visited Southern Tier several years ago, and it was a really cool brewery, great tour at the end, tasting room. I was surprised when I went there that they talked about using a lot of hops in their beer, because I know them as, like you, all their stouts and their darker stuff. I always remember the creme brulee was one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. They have like a Girl Scout, like thin mint type deal as well, and Samoa, and they really do a good job.
But it was just surprising.
And let's not forget that they do some of the best pumpkin beers on the planet. Even though JR...
Oh, we had to bring that up, didn't we?
Shut up, but...
delicious. Sounds delicious.
They rock the pumpkin beers there, man.
They do a good job. I shouldn't say anything bad about it, but...
Well, as you guys know, I sell hard coffee now, and we just came out with our first seasonal pumpkin spice latte. So the samples arrive tomorrow.
Now you're a real company. You were posers before. Now you're a real company.
That was pumpkin. Oh well, you know what? I got to try it. We'll see.
Can't knock it till you try it. That's right.
All right. Well, that was a good beer to kick things off with. Steve, I think you were going to go before Greg, so I'll let you go next.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I had to dig. I don't have a cellar per se, so I had to dig into my back of my refrigerator. So I figured whatever's in the back is probably the oldest that I have. And I came across, here, let me open it first. Okay. I came across a bottle that my niece brought out to me from San Antonio, and it's from Freetail Brewing Company. And this is one of their original kind of beers. And, it's kind of like their trademark when they first, they're doing their other stuff. This is their Hypothesis. It's an Imperial IPA. And on my bottle, it says this was bottled on March 29th, 2017. So, not like it's not like a 10-year-old, bourbon beer or anything like that. But, like I said, in my refrigerator, it's old enough. Pour it. It's got a nice head on it. It's actually pretty dark, and I'm hoping it's just because it's not old, but it's kind of like a copper. I would say if you mixed like a Arnold Palmer color, you can kind of see some light through it, but but still kind of opaque. Smells delicious. Kind of bitter, but not too bad. It's still refreshing. A lot of what I just drank right now was most of the head on it. Let me get down to the beer part. Yeah, still very good. So I know I had this beer before, and I was saving this one. But I'm trying to see if they had any description and stuff on it. Yeah, just very smooth, easy on the palate. Goes down very, very nice. Like I said, the head's still kind of hanging on there. I know I'm going to be enjoying this the rest of the show. But yeah, if you can find yourself, if you're down the way in San Antonio in Texas, or if you're, like I said, in Texas, and there's something that they distribute in your area, definitely look up Freetail stuff. Their stuff up and down their line is very good, and their hypothesis is very tasty, and I suggest it.
Cool. All right, sounds good. Anybody else? If not, I'm going to go. I'll let Doug out do the grand finale. I have an oldie but goodie here, and certainly I know Greg and Doug will be a fan of this one, and I probably have had many of these. But this is the coveted Coonan Brewing Bourbon Barrel Aged Barley Wine, one of their signature beers that is coveted and treasured. And this is a 2014 vintage. So the first thing I want to say about this beer is I popped maybe right at the beginning of the show, only about 5 minutes ago, but as soon as I poured it, there was a head that disappeared pretty quickly, and I expected this just to be not much going on. It'd be a flat, it's been in the bottle 6 years. But I'm going to post a video to either Instagram or our Facebook page or both, because there's a little bit of carbonation coming up and bubbles rising from the bottom. I was really, really shocked to see that. And it's not a lot. I mean, there's really no lacing around the glass. But it's really cool, the little video piece I took, which I will post. I just wanted to comment on that, because after 6 years, this beer is really lively for the style it is and how long it's been in the bottle. So pretty cool. I'm sure this is bottle condition. This is the bourbon barrel aged barley wine. One of my all-time favorites from Coonan. Maybe slightly more a fan of the bourbon barrel 4D, Fourth Dementia Old Ale. That's my true favorite, but this isn't far behind. Another high-quality, great offering that is coveted by beer connoisseurs everywhere. So I'm going to take a sip of this. The first thing I noticed when I opened it is I could smell that Coonan grainy smell. I know Doug out will know what I mean, because he meets there for his brew club meetings. But there's a distinctive Coonan smell. I don't know what it is about the beers. It's a really good, I could have put a blindfold on and smelled this and known it was Coonan beer. And it's when you smell that, you just can't wait. You can't wait to taste it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm really surprised, because first thing that noticed, there's a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of bourbon. That bourbon barrel has not faded, or if it has faded, there's still plenty left. It's not hot by any means, but it's all blended into like a nice concert of flavors. You got that bourbony sweetness from, as a barley wine usually exhibits. You got dates, figs, toffee. Take another sip. I am definitely getting vanilla on that finish. Vanilla and caramel. All kinds of great flavors blending together. Dark fruit, vanilla. And it's just, when you taste this, you just want to, the first thing I'm thinking of is, I don't want this to be gone. So I think the worst part about drinking this beer will be when it's finished. I don't have any more 2014s left. So I'm going to savor every drop of this. It's absolutely fantastic. Brewed to style. The Coonan brothers, say what you will, they brew unbelievably unique and fantastic beers, and I'd say they're two signature beers that they brew best. Well, it's hard to say that because Icebox need to be in that conversation. But for my particular palate, the fourth Dementia, the 4D bourbon barrel aged 4D, and the bourbon barrel aged barley wine, or the non-bourbon barrel aged. The barley wines and the 4D old ales are my favorites. And I am going to be sad when this is gone, because I guess it's a good thing. When I checked my cellar today, I was really shocked at how many beers I've drank out of it. I know when I moved, I left a lot of stuff behind and kind of pared it down to like my all-time favorites. But this COVID time and the quarantining, I guess I put a pretty good dent in the cellar. I've noticed that maybe 2 or 3 boxes can be consolidated now. So drink down the cellar, and that's what everybody's doing during this time. So if you got them, smoke them, right? Especially your old ones.
Absolutely.
Well, and absolutely, don't be too sad about getting rid of that barley wine, because you got a whole nother stash in my basement that at some point it'll be shipped to you.
Good things are worth waiting
for. But
I'll be right over, Doug.
Good things are worth waiting for. And you know what? I did find a box of some newer vintages. So it's don't cry. I won't be crying too much. I still have some stuff. It's just the stuff that's from like 14 and 15 is just about gone. But that's okay. With your help, I'll be reloading, Dugout.
Well, yeah, and it's 14, 15. It's time to drink it. I mean, that stuff doesn't last forever. And you got temperature changes, and you got moving across the country. So the fact that it remains in good shape is really a bonus for you.
I'm still seeing bubbles coming up out of this thing, and I would never expect that about this beer. But you got to give the Conans credit, man. They really nail it with it. These beers they produce. I really have a hard time finding anything I'd rather have. I really do. So I may be 2,000 miles away, but I got friends in low places, right?
Bring on.
Absolutely. I'll come pick it up for you, JR, from Doug's house, and I'll ship it maybe to you.
Well, you guys have any comments? I know you've had this, and I'm sure you feel similarly.
Actually, I can't say that I had that one, but I'd be glad to try it at Doug's house.
Well, you'll have to have a newer vintage. But
those are newer vintages, and there's not that many of the barley wines, so you gotta go easy way. I think we got some 40s, and there's always some little gems that they're pulling out of the retail establishments too. And there were a couple in that box that were just insane beers. What is it? The Solstice Stout, is it? It's 20%. I mean, it just mind-boggling. I mean, just nuts. What's 20% stout? And it drinks like a dream,
So you guys, if you get a chance, take a look. I just posted that little short video clip, and you'll be surprised to see the activity in that class. I don't know if did you get it yet? So for our listeners, you'll be able to view this as well.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Barley wine. There's really a lot of activity in there. I'm really impressed.
Looks like a cauldron.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a cauldron in my belly real soon here. And
right on.
I am going to savor every drop of this. This is a fantastic beer. Well done, Kunin.
See if we can post that on our Instagram page here after we're done. That's pretty sweet.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's Dugout's turn now.
All right. Well, I didn't actually go in the cellar for this one. I was on Facebook, and I decided to check what was going on at Holiday Market, which is one of the better places to buy, if not the best place to buy beer in Detroit Metro. And I think they are the best. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
And I saw that they had what they've been doing. They've been doing growlers and crawlers and, tap beers. And they had a keg of Revolution 10-year beer, bourbon barrel aged barley wine with cherries. So it's a 10-year-old cherry barley wine that they had on tap, and they decided to just instead of trying to do growlers and stuff like that, they put it into one of their can machines and did 12-ounce cans and sold it by the 12-ounce can. So I was like, yeah, I'll totally pick up a can for that. That's perfect for this episode. It's a 10-year beer. I mean, how much older does it get than that? I mean, I've got some stuff that's older than that, a lot older, but nothing that I'm like not really good. You know, anything over 10 that I have is just kind of soy sauce. But a little bit about Revolution. I mean, that's their 10-year anniversary barley wine, and they started this one out. It's aged on cherries. I think it's, this isn't a recent cherry edition, that this was aged on cherry for 10 years. This comes across to me, I mean, when I first opened it, there was some carbonation. That carbonation settles down. This is much more like somewhere between a mead, but really more like a port. But the cherries are sweet and not tart. So it adds this beautiful layer of sweet and heavy thickness. The body is just so deep on this. Ruby red, looking like red wine. There's still just a little smidge of carbonation in it, but not much. I mean, a beer that's kind of this high in ABV isn't apt to hold carbonation. I think it's from a keg, so that's even harder. I mean, it's not really carbonated in the bottle and left for any time. So flavor is just incredible amounts of cherry, deep, dark cherries, and more cherries. I mean, that's the whole gist of this thing. I mean, you almost lose the vision of the barley wine in this because of the cherries, but you know that the alcohol is here. It's really sort of more like a cordial and meant to be dessert beer. But man, hats off to these guys. I know I've had some barrel aged stuff from them that's been outstanding. I've never had anything along this avenue where they've fruited something and aged this long to where it was this incredibly drinkable. I mean, I think everybody that I know that could probably enjoy a little bit of it, even if it's just like a little shot, would just say there's nothing offensive about this. It's just delicious, core.
Well, I could say kudos on the review because you made it, you really did describe it well, and to the point where I was like, boy, I wish I could try that. That sounds fantastic. That cherry flavor, a little bit of sweetness.
Cherries.
It actually almost reminded me of what the description was similar to how you would probably describe a cherry ice bock.
Yeah, I mean, that booziness isn't there. Like, you would get the booziness in an ice bock right up front. On this one, it's a little more buried, and you do get some depth from some of the malt, and you still get that flavor of malt. But predominantly cherry, but you still know it's a beer, but it's somewhere in that like kind of beer Netherland range where it's just sort of fading away from beer to some other kind of heavier liqueur or liquor or something like that.
Well, it does sound fantastic, and man, I'll tell you, Revolution, some of my all-time favorite beers come from them. And Death Star is still one of my favorite barrel-aged stouts.
Straight Jacket,
Rye Way to Heaven. Yeah, they make some fantastic beers, man. I mean, when I think of Chicago, them and Microphone are probably two breweries that come to mind. I'm sure there's a lot more. Don't want to leave anybody out, but they're at the top of my list.
Yeah, I always had my love for Pipeworks, and
Pipeworks, yep.
Spiteful's always done some great double IPAs, in my opinion. Hailstorm, which we've mentioned a whole bunch, doing with the barrel ages, and Hailstorm is and Butchers, Hop Butchers of the world.
Hop Butcher, yeah, good one.
Incredible, like hop infused beers. Like, how much hops could you drink? Kind of type styles of things. So there's a lot of innovation there, and I mean, even you go back to old school, and you got Goose Island variants and all the bourbon barrel stuff, from Boost. And so there's just a lot of history, a lot of stuff there kind of easy to overlook some things for what's easy and what's trendy, but sometimes when you dig a little deep, you find some really great gems.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da?
I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da?
Well, what did we da yesterday?
Yesterday.
All the dolls feel like the same doll these days.
I know.
Like, is today Monday or Tuesday?
Today is Thursday.
Oh no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday.
Oh no!
No!
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Looking in my email now because unfortunately Z Beerman can't make it again today, but he's kind enough to send me some industry news, so let me pull that up. And while we're doing that, we could maybe have a little conversation about what our next here it is, what our next episodes are going to be. We were talking a little bit before the show, so maybe we can continue that discussion now while I pull some of this beer news up.
Actually, you know what? We could do something off the cuff if you guys want.
Mustard beer. Oh, wait. No.
Oh, mustard beer.
They sold out of that stuff, by the way.
Yeah, like really quick.
So if anybody wants to send it to us.
I honestly really want to try that. I love mustard. I know it's weird, but maybe I'm in the minority, but I would die to try that.
This week, I just happened to enjoy a pastrami pizza from the Downey Pizza Company. Shout out to them. And it was delicious. And as I kept eating that thing, all I kept thinking about was that beer, because it was really good.
I've got a little thing to say, and let's just make this part of the episode today. So, I had mentioned I was going to Holiday. This would be just a little new segment for it. It's called Get Off My Lawn, Kid. And, I went to Holiday, and they are the tops, and they're the best and everything. And all I wanted was, like, really a West Coast double IPA. And I found, lactose IPAs. I found sour IPAs. I found a plethora, and this really kind of pisses me off, and this is the get off my lawn thing, is that I found these IPAs that are session IPAs, and they cost every bit as much as a double IPA in a can, 16-ounce cans. 4 of them are $8 session IPA. So, I don't know. Get off my lawn, kid.
We'll turn Doug into a hipster. Just you wait.
JR looks like he's talking, but I can't hear him.
No, he's on mute.
Hey, Ross is here. Holy smokes.
Ross is here, but JR's on mute.
Yes, JR, you're muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I was muted. So I was also distracted by the Flyers game, which I'm sure Ross is probably keeping an eye on too. But welcome, Ross. Ross said he would try to pop in late, so welcome. We're glad to have you here. Everybody just got done reviewing a beer, so the floor is yours if you'd like to share a beer with us.
I was trying to show you what I got here. It's a, see, you guys can see that. It's a 2010 Worldwide.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's old. That's Ty's dugout for the oldest.
So I have a 2009, but it's I'm saving that one for another occasion. So I went with my next oldest, which is 2010. And
Are you saving it for the next episode of Old Beer?
I'm saving it to share. This one can be for me. I'm saving that 2009 to share with somebody sometime. Okay.
Good deal. Well, we've had a couple barley wines. We've had...
Certainly not expecting any IPAs.
No.
Oh, that would have been a great.
You know what?
Come
I
on.
honestly looked for a 120, a Dogfish Head 120, the triple IPA that turns into barley wine, but I think I got rid of all mine.
Nobody's got a hop slam?
No, I don't. No hype slam.
Nah.
We got no head on that, just a very low. We wouldn't expect to with this. It's pretty thick. It's motor oil, we know. Oh my goodness, there's a lot there. There's actually still, you can still get that alcohol you get off of Worldwide, but it's very, very like a plum raisin smell.
What's the ABV?
Very rich. Well, it's got the yellow cap, so it's at least 17%. They don't really tell. I guess somewhere online we could look that up, but it's not on the bottle. We know it's a Dogfish Head yellow cap, which means at least 17. So
it's up there.
They usually Worldwide usually come in like 17 to 19, right? So it's in there somewhere. Yeah, this is really rich, and you get that raisin is just right up front, and the alcohol, and maybe a little bit of dark chocolate there at the end too. I've actually not had one this old, to tell you the truth. So, wow, that is way more dark fruit up front than I remember the fresher ones being. It is like that's like all plum raisin right there. Oh man, and then finishes off with chocolate.
This is sounding good.
And the alcohol doesn't really come through in the taste like it did on the smell. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just this great little transition from those fruity, from that raisin plummy taste to the chocolate.
Sounding like we need to give Ross a moment here.
Yeah, this is kind of like that transition I had with the raisin dextra, right? Where there was that like 6 years. It took that raisin dextra 6 years to be something that was kind of. It went from a fresh one is like almost unpalatable, right? It's just you got to sit on it. But after a certain amount of time, it became wonderful. And this is definitely, like I said, I've never had a Worldwide that had aged 10 years before. And this definitely got better with age. I can say that for sure. This is good.
9 years is a sweet spot.
Is it for Worldwide?
Maybe. I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't know.
It's sounding like it by your description and reaction.
Yeah. So like I said, I can tell you, I was told ahead of time that 6 years was kind of the sweet spot for the raisin dextra. Somebody had told me that ahead of time, and then that turned out to be really true because I'd had some fresh raisin dextra, and that's not really something you even you don't want a bottle of that. You just want a little bit, and that's done. But that I could have a whole bottle of that one that had been aged 6 years, and this is really nice. Yeah, I see like no reason to share this. It is it's got a it's not quite as thick on the mouthfeel as I would expect for this high ABV and for the smell and the taste that are in it. It's not quite as thick as I would expect, but it's by no means thin or anything. But yeah, that just every sip is the fruits up front, followed by the chocolate. It's really good.
Well, I may have already told this story on the show before, but if I did, forgive me. But the first Worldwide Stout I ever had, I went to visit a buddy of mine in Fenwick Island, Delaware, not far from Milton Brewery.
About 20 minutes.
And I went to the local liquor store when I was going to visit my buddy, and they had Worldwide Stout behind the counter for like $10 a bottle. And I'm like, I'll take 2 of those. So I picked it up, and I went to my buddy's house, and I put one in the fridge, and I'm like, you know what? About a half hour went by, and I had another beer or something. I'm like, I got to try this, see what it is. And I had no idea what I was doing because it's not a beer you should drink fresh. and it was like drinking a glass of cognac. It was hotter than hot.
Yeah.
And it took me an hour to get through that thing. It was rough, man. And so I never drank a fresh, one of those ones with, and you see that green cap with the warning exclamation point on it. It's there for a reason. That basically is your.
Well, it's a shark exclamation point.
Okay. Yep.
It's actually a little shark is the vertical part
with
of
the
it.
big triangle around it. When you see that, that means put it in your cellar and don't drink it for a few years.
It's a dog.
I learned the hard way, but I can remember sitting there with Frank, my buddy, and God bless him, he's passed away since then. But he was drinking his like 30 pack of Busch Light or whatever he drank. He was a quantity over quality drinker, but and I was more of a I want good stuff, and I just didn't know. I mean, that was years ago before I really knew what I was doing with craft beer. And that being said, I know I still have one of those from that year, and I don't remember what year it was. It's probably 2015 or something like that, 14.
I've got a couple of these scattered still in my collection. Not tens, but some from 5-6 years ago at least. So I have I don't know if I told the story before, but when they did the oak age worldwide release, the vanilla oak age worldwide release, that was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe only 3. I forget. I drove up for it. And as part of it, if you went to they had the release at both locations, both in Rehoboth and in Milton. And but if you went to the Milton location at where their actual brewery is, they were selling these 4-packs of the vintage. So you could get a 4-pack of 9, 10, 11. I'm not sure if they made it in 12 or not.
Yeah.
And it was a 9, a 10, 11, and it was either 12 or 13, whatever the next year was. And so you got that 4-pack. But the 4-pack was $75, but it came with a couple glasses and some other stuff, and Sam signed the 09 bottle. So got his little,
Nice.
It's got his autograph on the 09 bottle. So I thought, $75 for a 4-pack of, old worldwide, that'll probably, I could do worse, right?
Take my money.
I went ahead and I ended up getting one of the last 3 or 4 when they were counting out as they were coming down the line, and they ran out not long after me. That was the last one they had of that old 4-pack. I mean, not of the old 4, but of the 4-pack of the older beers all put together. So got kind of lucky. Got a couple nice glasses out of it, and got some good beer out of it too.
Well, amen, man. That was a great grand finale there.
Like I say,
I didn't know if we could have topped Tugs, but
the nose still has a bit of that alcohol you'd expect. It's definitely, it smells like it, but it doesn't taste like it. Yeah, it's gone from the taste.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah, that is good. So I gotta. The lesson here is just keep sitting on your 17% Dogfish Head stuff for a while, because it eventually gets a lot better than it is when it first came out.
I can attest to that.
Maybe that's an episode. We drink a 17% fresh Dogfish. You never know.
How about a Dogfish 120? We have one that's fresh and one that's like 5 years old.
Utopias episode. Holy smokes, huh?
I've got a higher math I saw in the back of my fridge. God, I don't know how old that thing is. It's probably getting 5 or 6 years old now. I don't know if you remember when that came out.
Oh yeah.
Well, we still got the bottles of Sam Adams Triple Bock in my cellar.
no one's going to top that age. How old those, Doug?
97, I think. 90. I got 95 and 97s on those.
Did we have like one bottle that tasted really good, and the next
it's
like
always a crapshoot. It's always a crapshoot. Some
We
wines
opened
are really
one.
good, and they're really chocolatey, but they're full of like gristle and grit, and you got to kind of filter them out. And then other times they just taste like salty fish sauce or soy sauce.
I remember we opened one at my garage when I was still in Michigan. We were brewing or something, and it tasted like chewing tobacco.
Yeah, there was another one we had opened at one of your parties too, and that was just like it was so filled with silt and everything, but it was delicious.
Yep. Well, how many more do you have left?
I think I got 15 of those left.
Holy crap! Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely should have broken one of them out for this episode.
I started with I didn't even think of it, but
Yeah, it might have been
like,
a bad one.
I might have gotten one of the soy sauce ones. So
they're like scratch tickets, right? They're like scratch tickets. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a crapshoot on those things. But I had a little gathering of some of the guys at the beer club here, and some people were really excited to try this one, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll bring it out. And I brought 2 different ones, and yeah, we got 2 different experiments both times.
That's weird how they've probably been in the same conditions, and they're all totally different.
Yeah, well, some leaked, and the corks in them are all spongy, and they just break off. So, I guess after like 25 years, they just, and they weren't always stored in like optimum cellar. They have been like the last probably 10, 15 years.
So maybe that's a theme for an episode. Most questionable state of the beer, right? So you had something, you don't know whether you left it out in the sun for a couple days. You know what I'm saying? So I know as a little side story, I was picking on a way to on a little tasting event, a share, I guess, not so much of the tasting, but I was picking her friend Carrie up, and she had to run something to her car. She had to run and get something to her car before she got in, and we were picking somebody else up on the way. And she comes back with a can of Hop Slam in her hand. This, mind you, was August. Apparently, the Hop Slam had been in there for a little while.
Ooh.
It was under, like, in some way, shape, or form, it had rolled from whatever it had been in originally to under her car seat. And it had been in North Carolina heat for the better part of a couple of months at that point, under her car seat. So we took it with us to the share just for laughs and grins, and she stuck it, like, in the fridge. And so we don't know if anybody ever had that or not. But,
I thought you were going to break it out of the chair for science, but
no. But no. By the time we remembered that it was even there, we were already had too much other good stuff to even want to think about it. So,
so somebody
probably opened it.
Somebody a week later, whoever's house that was at, got a surprise. I'm guessing. So,
and they probably enjoyed it too.
And they'll probably never drink Hop Slam again.
No, they probably loved it.
Either that or that's the real start of COVID.
Could be.
And that was a good 4 years ago at this point. So
seems like it.
Well, all right, man. I was on a pretty good road to getting some industry news here. There really wasn't a whole lot. There was an article about how cheap beers. Everybody thought cheap beers would be selling good and they're actually losing share. So I'm not going to spend any time about that because life's too short to drink cheap beers. But thankfully, people during this COVID, even if money is tight, they're drinking better stuff.
And I got a little bit too. I mean, I've been reading up. I mean, I'm not going to point out specific sources, but these are people in the beer industry that I know and I've worked with in the past. That there was a little discussion about. Sort of the RTDs is what the old school term for it is, but the new term is the seltzers, and how seltzer brands are just completely interchangeable. Like, there's no true brand loyalty, and you think, well, Truly, and you've got, how many different kinds, and then like if you're out of that one, I'm going to buy this Corona one, and that's great, and then when it's done, I'll just go back to my Truly or my White Claw, or everybody's interchanging things, and what you're seeing in some of the liquor stores, and a lot of liquor stores, and a lot of cold boxes across, and especially in some of the big box stores, is these huge sections that have developed of all those seltzer beers. I guess they're beers. I don't know. I don't really call them beers, but those seltzer things. And, all the craft beers getting left on the warm shelf. And people are kind of freaking out because, a lot of the double dry hop stuff. I mean, you sit that on a warm shelf in the summertime, it's gonna go bad in no time at all. It's just a weird state for everything.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you can see what I was doing there, but I'm sniffing the bottle of the Worldwide, and it's like straight chocolate sniffing out of the bottle. Wow, it is very different than the glass. Man, sorry, I see Greg laughing at me, but that's good. That's a whole.
No, Ross, it wasn't you. I promise. It was Steve eating a taco over there. I thought it was Del Taco. So sorry. You're good.
That is really good. I'm gonna have to remember to give that a shot on the next other aged dogfish head I go for. But that's a very different smell than what was in the glass. That's good. That's almost just like dessert right there.
Nice.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make $20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched! No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention, it's not from one of Chris's articles, is there's a lot of out of stocks. If you go into any beer store or any grocery store right now, a lot of the mainstream brands, Mexican beers were shut down. The breweries were shut down. There is a lot of empty shelf space. We've even had, I'm in the hard coffee business. We've had distributors tell me that they've been able to put our stuff into the shelves just because there's nothing there. So it's like it's like the wild, wild west. If you got something, put it on the shelf. We don't want empty shelves. So it's been a really weird time with, not only breweries getting shut down and scarce product, but the can shortage. Because nobody's, the draft beer business is almost non-existent because most of the bars are either closed or not, or doing takeout only. And now everybody is just doing cans. So nobody saw that coming. So can shortage plus beer shortage equals a lot of empty shelves. And
and you've got the home can market now too, because places like October Seamer have sold canning units that are well within a home brewer's price range, and you can just can your beers.
Right.
So there's that whole entire market that all that aluminum and all those aluminum cans went into. That nobody foresaw that either.
So one other thing that is in the new beer news, so I can credit Chris for sending me some info, is the Bell's Brewing is in a legal battle in the state of Virginia where they pulled their beer just to be able to reassign it to a distributor that I guess bought another distributor that had their beer that they don't want to do business with. And they just won a court case involving the state of Virginia with the court rules that the Virginia ABC does not have the sole role in the franchise rights. So I'm not going to go into this other than to say that a victory for Bell's in Virginia. And I don't really see a whole lot of other stuff. Just some. I know I saw something with some distributors were consolidated in Chicago. I think 2 distributors are merging. I know you would know this, Dugout. Chicago Beer Systems is merging with another one that the Reyes Group has bought. So the Reyes Group is just like an unbelievably large empire of distributors, and they're taking 2 distributors that they own and merging them into one.
Yeah, actually,
and I think Spiteful is one of the brands that break.
It's Reyes, and that's Chicago Beverage, and there's Windy City Beverage.
That's the 2.
Which they bought some years ago. They've been operating them independently as 2 different units because, one, Chicago Beverage was sort of a Miller House and just high volume type big brand beers, and then everything sort of craft went into the Windy City side where things were treated with kid gloves and all for good reasons. That's the type of thing that sells the product is somebody that knows something about it and can tell you to the benefits of it and why this is this way and why it's not some other way. So that's all good. There was some other consolidation news in Chicago as well with some Budweiser. It's just shifting of the landscape. I don't think it's anything ground shaking. I mean, it's been done before. It's interesting you bring up the Bell's issue because Bell's has a history of doing that, and they did that in Chicago when Chicago Beverage got the rights to them. And rather than be sold by Chicago Beverage, they pulled out of the market for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. They pulled out of Chicago market, and they came in as some funny brand names and things like that. I don't know if they were just teasing people or whatever, but they just pulled up stakes and took out, and
that's exactly what they did in Virginia. They're like,
yeah,
nope,
God bless them.
You can't make this distributor represent us. I'm out.
No, that's it. Sell it the way we want it sold, or don't do it, and we'll take our ball and go home. I don't mean it that way, in a negative way. I think that's a positive way. They're like, sell our product the way it's supposed to be sold, or don't do it.
I don't know if I had told this on a previous episode at some point, but Burial did the same thing with South Carolina, right? So they did not like the way the distributors were handling their beer there, and they just yanked it. So
it says Breakthrough Beverage sold its remaining beer SKUs to Lakeshore Distributing, or Lakeshore Beverage, which you probably
right. Yeah, that's the AB house is kind of consolidated.
And they have Deschutes, Odell, Toppling Goliath, and Spiteful and Buckle Down. So there's
they've got some good ones. They've got some good local ones in there that are being folded into the AB house there.
Anyway, that's about all I have for beer news. So I guess before we head to Mexico City, we're going to talk a little bit about future episodes and we had a little bit of conversation before the show. So let's just continue that live. We just decided we're going to kind of go unplugged here and talk about what our plans are and make these decisions live on, not live because it'll be recorded, but we're just going to hammer it out here and just, have an unplugged version, last couple minutes of the show. So I guess one of the ideas floated was to go back to our roots and take those first 10 or 30, 20, 30 episodes. And let's go back and take a look at where we've come in 170. This is 176 episodes. And maybe let's go back to our roots and see how much we've changed. I know we used to be more structured and we had an order. This guy's going to go first. This guy's going to go next. And when COVID hit and we were doing, virtual happy hours with people, we just decided, let's just relax everything and not have a structure as much. So we do our introductions, and then we just kind of freelance like we would if we were sitting around a table drinking a beer. And that's where we want the show to go and what we want to be. And so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to be ourselves. And and the other thing is we'd love to get some input from anybody, our listeners. So if you hear us, discussing options for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us something you might want to hear about. If you have a brewery you'd like to feature, if you have a style you'd like to hear about, or maybe just, beer stories, anything at all, let us know. We're on, on all the social media. I have taken it upon myself to focus on Instagram. So you're going to see pictures of all the beers we had tonight on Instagram. I've been doing that. And you're going to see the video of that barley wine I had. By the way, I never said it was 14.5%, but now I have. So let's have a little discussion, guys. We want to go back to the roots and maybe go through those first few episodes and pick a few interesting ones out. And most of the early episodes, we just focused on a style.
Yeah. No, I'm good with that.
And Greg, you were only a listener back then. Well, I shouldn't say only, because you're even more important than us. But those that don't know, Greg was one of the early listeners, and we used to have the old win this glass. Maybe that's part of this too. That's going back to our roots. I'm giving up on Chris. I think I'll just order my own glasses and make this thing happen. But it was always a cool thing. We'd say, win this glass, tweet in about this, or, reach out to us and we'll send you a glass. And that's how I met Greg. Greg was one of the first Win This Glass winners, and he was local, and I met him at the now defunct Fort Street Brewery for a couple beers. Gave him his glass, and next thing I know, he's been with us for years. So,
and I missed that glass because I broke that glass accidentally, so I would probably enter that contest again. So why not?
Well, I got
Greg, I would
right
too,
now,
because I had two of them, and I've broken both of them.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Double trouble.
Oh, my goodness.
Actually, John Golden broke one of them.
If you've ever been to Dugout's house, you know why that happens. That's just par for the course. You got dogs, cats, and Feldies.
There's only one dog and only one cat. So
But how many Feldies?
And then there's a few of the Feldies, but
and let's not forget Scott either.
I was going to say, did you guys do Untapped tonight or not? Or was that skip?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
What was your Untapped?
So my Untapped was actually a hologram from Fonta Flora. So Fonta Flora is a little brewery here in North Carolina, and they usually don't go out into the dark beer realms. They're more fruity sours and things like that. But they made a very light coffee stout called, and it was very low ABV as well. It was less than 3. It was like 2.8%. Called Hologram, and it was this very light but lots of coffee stout, and it was really good. I bought a 4-pack of it about a month ago, and I've had I just finished the last one earlier tonight while I was at work. We were doing a production release, and I had to sit and just kind of monitor stuff going on. At 2.8%, I'm good with having one of those, and it was really good, and I've had a couple of those, and I've been meaning to mention it. It was like, I think I have found my new lawnmower stout. My old lawnmower stout was made by Mystery Brewing Company, which is now defunct in Hillsborough, North Carolina, and it was a lemongrass stout that was light and really good as well. And but this one, they've knocked it out in the park on taste, on having the coffee, and even though there's not a lot of alcohol in it, it's just kind of it's a nice, light, refreshing drink, and I really enjoyed it. So anyway, I checked that in on that was my last Untapped check-in. I just want to give a shout out to Fauna Flora because they're known here in NC for a couple of styles, and it's just styles that I don't regularly drink, so I've never talked about them before. But they're good. It was a good beer.
I was really surprised when you brought that name up because I know that they're like a sour and not really up your alley, but that's pretty cool. You try new things, but what is it? 2.5%, 3%? That's like.
It was 2.8.
That's like a party guile if you're a brewer.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure I had something that I was going to be okay with while being on a call with several other people at work. So.
Well, all right. Well, I didn't think there was any chance in hell I would drink 2 beers on this episode after that barley wine, but I'm pouring one right now before we go to Mexico City, and this is appropriate for the Mexico City entrance, because this is a 2015 Dragon's Milk Reserve with toasted chilies.
Ooh,
if you guys look at this,
that's
you
a
remember
good
this
one.
is like 5 labels ago for these guys. It
Yes.
seems like they change their label every year. I think
Yeah, let's not go too
3
far.
labels.
Two labels.
That's really old school.
But
I thought you really liked the
well,
lemon
I'm cellar, and
raspberry.
I'm like, if I don't drink this tonight, it'll probably be another 5 years till I pop it. So, since we're
That's a good
about to wrap this thing up, I figured, it's going to be. This is like the appendix of the show. This is not going to be anywhere near the last 2 beers that were reviewed. But you can see, for those of you that can see the camera on the show, so certainly be posting pictures of this. But there's a really solid head on this that's not going away too quickly. It's like a thin film of like cola looking head. It is coal black. It's it's an imperial stout. What would you expect? So it is 2015, 11% alcohol. Wow, I'm not smelling the chilies, and I remember even when this was out, the chilies are more on the back end. I'm getting a lot of roasted malt and some chocolate malt, roasted malt, chocolate. Maybe a little toffee on the nose. Let's say what it would taste like. And it's interesting because this tastes almost like a candy bar, and then you get that very, very little heat at the end. It is there, but I'm sure the chilies have faded over 5 years. I remember drinking this when it was fresh, and it was a lot hotter than this. It's mellowed out quite a bit, but it does. It has like that little. It's not bad at all. It's slightly sweet. It's more like a candy bar. Let me taste. Yeah, definitely caramel, toffee, chocolate. Just like it's like a candy bar with just a really slight hint of pepper at the end. Toasted chilies. I'm sure the chilies were much more prevalent. I remember when this came out, I drank a few when they were relatively fresh, and I could taste the chilies. They're barely in the background. They're there, but. That being said, this is a nice, mellow, like a liquid candy bar, really is the best way to describe it. And probably the toasted chilies on the label don't do it justice at this point because it's barely on the radar. But that being said, it's evolved over 5 years into a pretty nice, enjoyable beer. So I think it's a great segue to head to Mexico City. So I'm going to open it up to final comments before we head there. Anybody have anything to add?
I think I've had that beer fresh and thoroughly enjoyed it, especially with the heat of the chilies. And it's good to hear that it certainly is like a candy bar now. And I'm trying to recall if there's ever a candy bar that has maybe like a little, like a habanero or chilies heat to it. But that would be fantastic.
And I think
so.
And now that I've set the beer down and I've just kind of taking a break from it, the chilies on the finish are lingering with me longer. So when I was taking repeated sips, it didn't stand out. But now that I've put the beer aside, the chilies are definitely still there. So it's kind of evolved from my original statement that there's hardly any chilies to, yeah, they're still there. They're in the background, nowhere near what they were at one time. But yeah, an oldie but goodie, and that was the whole theme of this episode. And last call for final comments. Anyone? Any local brewery news? Any homebrew news? Anybody? Dugout, you got to talk about the equipment.
I was going to say, yeah, he just made a major investment, right?
Well, I'm doing it tomorrow, so I almost want to save it till next week. But yeah, I'm going to 20-gallon system with new mash tun, new kettle. It's all SS Brewtech, work pump, plate chiller, all the tubing, everything. And so, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm pretty overwhelmed by it because I'm maxed on beers that I brewed because, we've got this Charlie Orr Cup coming up in beginning of September. And got to get all those beers maxed. I've got 2 going right now, 3 going at the moment. 1 needs to be bottled, and that'll take care of the 4th. So, yeah, lots of stuff going forward in that regard. But, yeah, I am stoked to get the stuff. It's just an opportunity came, and it's somebody that is they're professional and they've used this as a professional system. If anybody wants the side notes of what company it was used for, we've actually reviewed them on the show, so it's a hint. But yeah, some great stuff.
It's gonna be your backyard's gonna have a new building built into it just for that brew equipment, huh?
I think I should change that little chicken coop in the back.
No,
and just make it a solar brewing shed.
Perfect.
That's awesome, man. And I can't wait till this COVID crap is done, and Steve V and I are going to come up to Michigan, and whether it's a festival, your garage, whatever, we're going to. Steve, you haven't been a part of it, but when I was still living in Michigan, we would always get together once or twice a year, and usually in Doug's. In Clawson at Doug's place, and great times, great memories from those, and more to be had. I guess we're allowed to swear on these episodes, so fuck COVID.
It's not like our mutual friend Kurt Stars, who would invite people over for when he did a smoke. He'd smoke out some meat and stuff, and then we'd show up there, and then it's like, well, what are we eating? And he says, well, I'm smoking, and you're just going to watch me smoke. And I'm like, well, you're not going to feed us? Like, no. So, we're going to show up there and watch Doug brew beer and not drink beer.
That's it. Wow.
There's always plenty of food at Doug's place. Doug's a good host. Doug and Scott, Scooter and Doug, they know how to do it. And I should give credit to Keebler and Edgar Winter too.
Cabes.
They're always a big part of the show. So we'll get there, Steve. Just be patient. We're gonna get back there, and we're gonna make it sing when we get up to Michigan.
Doug will provide the PPE. You can come on anytime.
My company wants me to travel to a in-person meeting in Wisconsin, and all the flights go through DTW. And if that happens, man, and I got to be at like Monday morning meeting there, I'll probably sneak into Michigan and let you guys know.
If they let you out.
I'm going to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean,
if I got to go through DTW, I can spend one night in the D.
Check your quarantine restrictions. Just saying.
They
might be in place. You
already heard me say fuck COVID. I'll wear a mask. I'll do what I got to do. But if I'm going through Detroit, I'm getting off the plane and I'll get on the next day, whatever the cost may be.
Yeah, let me know.
Yep. And maybe then I can take my box of FedEx and send it back.
There you go.
All right, everybody. I think this has run its course. So we're going to have a little powwow, and we're going to go back to our roots, man. We're going to have a little throwback, Beer Nuts throwback episodes. We'll come up with some crazy name appropriate, but that's what we're looking forward to. But, again, anybody listening, you got an idea for an episode, if you want to join us on an episode, that's how Greg found, we found Greg and he found us. I mean,
you're stuck with me now.
We're, again, just remember our mantra. We want to introduce more good people to more good beer, and we're willing to introduce more good beer to more good people. So reach out to us, man. We'd love to have you. We'd love to share a beer with you. We'd love to have you on our show. So that being said, it's time to head to Old Mexico City. So as they say in Old Mexico City, A-M-M.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new. our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.